And today, I actually have a special guest. This is my very first guest on the podcast and on this channel. And we're going to be talking about something that is very important that everybody is looking to get into, and that is investing. So many people are looking at inflation, they're looking at prices going up, the value of the dollar going down, and they want to know how they can get their money start working for them. And as you know, on this channel, I always talk about you want to make sure that you are investing in something, but make sure that you always do your own research. And I believe what we have here today is going to be a great addition to your tool set, to your arsenal, because it is going to be helping you on the level of basically investing. So without further ado, I want to bring up a good friend of mine. We met about 4 years ago, and this is a very ambitious, very hardworking gentleman. And when I first met him, we just instantly clicked. For one, we both were engineers going to school for engineering, or actually, he was going to school for engineering. I was out of school for engineering, and we just clicked. We're like, man, look, we see that, this is something that we really want to do. We want to be able to better our families. And where we met was getting started on an entrepreneurship journey. So I'm not going to get too much into it because I want him to share his story. And without further ado, I want to introduce Kenny Kemp. What's going on, Kenny?
What's up, Matt? Thank you for having me on, man. I really appreciate all the edification you just gave me, man. You hyped me up a little bit, and just so the crowd knows, and then the rest of the audience knows. Like Matt said, we met during our network marketing journey, and we clicked immediately because we were both engineers, and we're both trying to figure out a way to get out of the rat race at the end of the day. And I appreciate Matt for having me on. He's a hard worker just like I am, and he's posting and doing his thing, and I'm looking at everything he's doing and trying to do the same thing. So I appreciate all the help, all the encouragement, and thanks for inviting me on the podcast, man.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Most definitely. I appreciate that too, man. And as they always say, man, you got to grow together. You got to go together.
Yep.
And I can say at least from when we first got started with that network marketing journey, um, I would say that we are probably a couple of the few people that we use that as an opportunity to better ourselves and not just die when that whole situation died. I would say,
Exactly. It was
yeah,
like the catalyst of like just understanding like, okay, money is not what we think it is. And at least for me, that's what it was. Because coming into, college and everything, it was like, go get your degree. Engineers make a lot of money and, you'll get paid every year the same amount of money. You get a merit increase each year, whatever. Climb up
right.
the. And once you got into network marketing, you started to see people out here making real money who look just like you and I. And it's like, okay, that's taboo to me because I didn't see that from the community that I came in. So, the that introduced a new shift in the way that I think. And I will always remember that network marketing journey that we went on because it was important because even though it didn't work out the way we wanted it to, it was important because it made a mindset shift for me, as far as money investing and, the markets.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with that too. Because before then, just like you, I was thinking, man, look, go to school, get a high, go to get your degree in something that's high paying. I didn't want to be a doctor because doctors had too much chemistry and I wasn't good at chemistry. Then I was looking at, nurses and looking at lawyer. I didn't want to go to school for 10 years to be a nurse or a lawyer. So I was like, well, what can I do? It's like tinkering with stuff. Why not do engineering? And then just like you said, once you get into engineering, and you start seeing for most of these companies, unless you start your own firm, you're just going throughout the same stuff day to day, going to meetings to have meetings about meetings, as I call it. And
Yep.
then you just like, man, okay, well, I'm getting this paycheck every couple weeks. How can I really maximize this? Because I'm not sure if it's the same for you, but the reason why I wanted to be an engineer is because I want to be rich. Like I want to be able to have money. I want to go on trips. I want to be able to buy my mom nice things, buy my dad nice things, and really just be able to enjoy the life. But as we said earlier, as you start getting into this, you really start to see how limited you are when you have a 9 to 5. And
Hmm.
it's not that there's anything wrong with a 9 to 5. I believe it can be a great opportunity to help people invest in themselves.
Right.
But it's just as far as you having the freedom, the time freedom that you want to have, being able to spend time with, friends and family, the way that you want to go on trips, the way that you want to. I just feel like it just makes things a lot more limited.
Right. Yeah, and I totally agree with you, man. Like the thing for me was the time part. It was the time part, and the reality switched for me when I started to realize like, okay, I'm in school right now. Being an engineer, I can expect to make 75,000 dollars when I get out of school, and I'm capped out about 150 when I get to my maturity in my field. And I was looking at that, and I was like, okay, I just seen this guy over here make $200,000 in a year, and he's doing blase blase. This guy over here made 500,000, and he was doing blase blase. And the thing was, the recurring factor was they look like me. So it's like
Exactly.
I need to be reaching higher than what I'm reaching for now. And being an engineer all stemmed from my childhood and wanting to be able to provide for my family at any cost whatsoever. And money was the root to all of that. And money is a recurring theme in life, no matter how you look at it. And if you don't got enough of it, you can't live the life that you want. And you know me, I gotta live the life that I want, man.
Exactly. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it, man. So you've been working for what was it, 18 months?
18 months.
18
Oh,
months?
on the app, on the app.
Yeah, on the app,
So
on the app.
14 months. So I was on the phone with my mom in October of 2024.
Okay.
So it's been about 14, a little over 14 months now.
Okay.
Yep.
So one, let's talk about, or I guess let's go more into that. You say you were talking to your mom in 2024, and that conversation led you to start something. Let's get into that. So what was
Yeah.
that
So
conversation that you were having with your mom?
Yeah, so I was on the phone with her. It was probably like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I was driving back to my apartment in Nebraska City, and we're just talking. She was like, I was asking her, I was like, "Did you buy this stock that I told you to go buy?" And she's like, "I didn't, but I got all these other stocks that I got into, and I don't know why I got into them." And then she was like, "I just don't know what to buy. Like, I don't know what to buy or when to buy it." And I was like, a lot of people have that issue. You know what I'm saying? When I first started trading, I was like, I don't even know what to go trade. Like, I have no idea what to start with. And so that was the whole underlying um thing that I wanted to solve with Tikkerz. And so on top of that, when people go to all these financial platforms to learn about investing, to try and get started with investing, they get bombarded with charts, financial jargon, complex terms that they don't understand, and no way to really break it down. And that's exactly what Tickers is there to do. It's there to show you what opportunities are out there quickly, and it's doing the heavy lifting for you by giving you the star system and the bargain score. And so that's a whole scoring system we can get into later on if you want to. But
Okay.
like I said, the premises behind it was to give people a good starting point on what they could invest in and have confidence that the bargain score and star rating is going to give them, the basic fundamentals. It's not there to replace like all encompass. Oh, this is a good star rating and bargain score. Let's go buy it. It's not what it's for.
Okay.
It's there to show you that the opportunities could possibly be present. And
Okay.
so then you dive in with your research, and that's where the AI part comes in. So Tick is pretty much the mascot of Tikkerz App, and he is on pretty much every page you go on to. That way you can click him at any point in time you're confused, to ask questions about a certain stock, to ask questions about investing, to ask questions about finance. And he breaks it down to you in a way that's easy for you to understand. And if you don't understand the way he breaks it down, ask him again, tell him to do it another way. And boom, just like that, you just helped yourself learn about a complex financial topic. And so that's the premises behind Tickers and why I created it.
Okay, man, that's what's up, man. It's really awesome because just as you said, even with me starting on this journey too, or at least more so documenting the journey, that is one of the things that I have actually gotten quite a few comments about. When I'm talking to like, hey, how do you invest? Hey, what do I invest in? Hey, how do you get started? Hey, should I be looking at this? Should I be looking at that? I'm like, yo, I don't have no license. I can't give you no type of financial advice. But what I can tell you is this is how you go do the research and you make the best
Mhm.
decision for you. And don't invest any money that you are not okay with losing.
Yeah,
Like if
and
you
I
gotta
think
go
that's
pay
the
your
tough part.
yeah, if you gotta go pay your rent payment, you do not need to be putting your rent payment into your investing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
that
that's
was
the tough part though, man. Like when you were talking about how the studying part, the research part, everybody says go research the stock or go research the stock, but nobody knows how to actually go research it. They look up what the company does, who the competitors might be, but after that, it's like, okay, I don't know what else to do. And so
correct.
on my journey so right now I'm in my MBA program in finance.
Okay.
to earn my MBA in finance. And so some of the stuff that I've learned is like looking at cash flow statements, looking at just different financial documents to understand the health and stability of a company. Because once you know the health and stability of a company, then you know what you're investing in. And if you know what you're investing in, that's one of the things Warren Buffett also said. And in case y'all don't know, I love Warren Buffett. He's the goal of investing. So he was
Right.
like, he basically said, know what you're investing in, and that's the best way to know what you're investing in. And Tikkerz kind of lays out the framework of how you can go and look into these companies deeper with the follow the money and then the reality check that's on the workshop page.
Okay. And that's definitely dope. And I like Warren Buffett too. I actually have one of his books, Interpretation of Financial Statements.
Oh,
One of the things which I also learned from Rich Dad Poor Dad too is this right here, having that balance sheet.
oh yeah, gotta have the balance sheet,
As
man. Keep
as
making no money.
I don't even know if it'll zoom in, but asset column, liability column.
Hmm.
And the crazy thing is, which is one of the things that I really learned from our network marketing journey, especially when we were learning about finances, is that all of this stuff is public knowledge.
Hmm. Yep, it's all public knowledge. It's
It's
there for
all
you.
public knowledge.
It's there for you to see, and while some of that stuff can be manipulated a little bit, it's hard to manipulate certain aspects of it. And being able to look into those things is one of those where it's like a cheat code, and you can really start to see how these companies are operating if they're going to be successful in the future.
Correct, correct. Yeah, that's what's up, man. So I noticed that you said, of course, we're in this AI age. Many people want to say that, hey, AI is not going to be here forever. And I would personally say that if you think AI, if you think cryptocurrencies and a lot of these other new infrastructures that are coming are not going to be here for a while, you are going to be in for a rude awakening.
Oh
I
yeah.
I personally believe that because if you really look about at the financial system is super outdated.
Hmm.
And with cryptocurrencies being around, it's going to allow, and cryptocurrency is not just money, but it's a digital infrastructure, which I'll end up having a video where I'll talk more about that. But you need to just make sure that you are knowledgeable about things because just saying that, oh, I'm not going to worry about it or, oh, it's too hard to learn, that's
Hmm.
not only putting yourself at risk, but that's putting your future family at risk.
Absolutely.
Because for me personally, one of the reasons why I know that I wanted to stay on this journey is because even like you said, just talking with my aunts, my uncles, like they even call me now. They're getting ready to retire. They're like, Matt, where should I put my money? Matt, what should I do with this? Matt, what should I do with that? All this
Hmm.
stuff is confusing. Like they're talking about they're going to be doing this stock split. What does a stock split mean? Or are we talking about this? And I'm like, look, like at the age that you're at, these are some of the things you need to focus on. But as for me, being in my 30s, I just turned 30. Well, not just, I'll be turning 31 this month. But um, it's very important that you educate yourself.
Yep.
And so many people say that they don't have time, and they do have time. And even if you think that you don't have time, I would suggest that maybe you would agree with this. If you can go and watch 4 to 5 shows of Burgingtons or 4 to 5 episodes of Stranger Things or,
Hmm.
all these different shows or even watch 4 or 5 basketball games. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with watching those things at all because, you got to take time to decompress. However, there is a problem if you're doing that 7 days a week and
Hmm.
you're doing it for 6 to 7 hours out the day when you can go read a book like this and you can even just go read like one page or read one paragraph and
Hmm.
just say I'm committed to reading one page every day, and that's going to help you get started because I know for me, and maybe you can agree with this, Kenny, when I was in school, like I hated reading, and part
Oh
of the
yeah.
reason why I hated reading was because I would get tested on stuff that wasn't in the book, or I would get tested on stuff that that was in the book that the teacher never talked about.
Hmm.
And then that's when I started learning. They're like, well, if it's on the syllabus, you can be tested on it. And I'm like, all right, bet. So then as I started getting into this entrepreneurship journey, I started reading books like, Warren Buffett and the Interpretation of Financial Statements and Rich Dad Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, The
Hmm.
Magic of Thinking Big, The Magic of Believing, The Richest Man in Babylon. Like
Hmm.
just start reading those things. It started to change my mindset, and I was just committed to, well, let me read one page. Let me just read one page, and eventually, maybe you had the same thing. Eventually, you just started getting consumed. Like Okay, let me read a little bit more. Okay, let me read a little bit more. And next
Yep.
thing you know, you went from reading one paragraph to one page to 3 pages to now you're reading chapters to now you staying up at late at night talking about, all right, let me just read a little bit more. Or you falling asleep with the book with the book on you. So what has been your journey with that as far as in like personal development and investing in yourself?
Yeah, so personal development, man, you know me, man. I was in the books early with it, like back in college, reading things like Rich Dad Poor Dad, Atomic Habits, Can't Hurt Me to get myself right when it came to like running and exercising and just understanding the mindset of continuing to move forward. And I think the shift that that's came in the last probably 6 months for me was the shift from reading traditional books to reading AI, or not AI, but reading audio or listening to audiobooks, and on top of audiobooks, using AI, leveraging AI to learn more and learn faster. And so what I've learned with AI is that everybody thinks AI is a search engine. You should go on to and you type in stuff and get a quick answer. It's not Google. AI is literally a tool. Think about having a Albert Einstein, someone smarter than Albert Einstein in your pocket at all times of the day that can do whatever you need it to do. And once I learned that it's not just a tool for searching, that it's a tool for anything that I need it to be, that's when everything changed. And so I can give out one of the gems that I do right now. So ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, all of those AIs, I use all three of those every single day without fail, because they all have this function on it called deep research. And now the thing with books is you get a book because you want to learn something about a certain topic, right? And
Right.
with deep research, you can go learn the same thing about a certain topic and get the output that you're looking for, exactly what you're looking for, using the correct prompt. And it's like
Mm,
once I figured out that, okay, I could learn about this specifically and I don't need all the fluff that's in the book, I went straight to doing deep researches every day. I'm doing a deep research in the morning, at night, on lunch break, because it helps me learn so much faster. And if I have follow up questions, I can ask follow up questions, and it's all based on cited sources and research. And so it's one of those things where it's so powerful that honestly, man, I don't even go pick up a book from the store no more, man. Because if I see a book, I'm like, okay, what's the back of this book say? What I'm gonna learn from this book? Okay, deep research, just like that.
Yep.
So for one, it helps me save money on buying books. But let me also reiterate, I started reading books. Like I got a whole bookcase over here full of books over here. So
Oh
it's like
yeah.
I used to read a lot, and I still do read a lot, just not in the same traditional way.
With AI, can be like, hey, look, there's this concept that's talking about this. Here's my understanding of it. Is my understanding of it correct? And
Yep.
if it's not, I want you to explain it to me like a third grader. And
Yep.
also, I want you to compare it to something that I would likely know. So
Hmm.
then it's like, okay, well, this is how you do the XYZ. So I'm like, oh, okay. So now,
See.
so now what I can do is I don't have my notebook right now. Oh yeah, I do. Then what I do is I would literally go and I would say, this is the question that I put into ChatGPT or in Perplexity or in Claude. And I would say, this is the question that I typed in here. I didn't really have this understanding. This is the output that it gave me. And
Hmm.
now I'm sitting here documenting it. So then if I go back and I'm like, oh, I did learn this before, or hey, I think I want to compound on that idea. What
Yep.
about this or what about that? It allows for you to be able to do that.
Yep. Continuing to dig into stuff is major too. And so like going back on like your whole framework of how you do it, I used to do the same exact thing too. And then I started figuring out, okay, it gave me this output. What about this output do I not understand, and why? And so I started doing it where I would just copy that output and just say, explain this to me like I'm 15 years old. And immediately it's like, okay, all this stuff is starting to click now because it's giving you real world examples, giving you stuff that a 15-year-old could understand easily. And it's like, okay, if the 15-year-old is still the 15-year-old explanation is still too complex for you, go to a third grader, like you said. And it's
Yeah.
like one of those where, it's easy to make stuff. It's easy to get stuff to be understandable if you really try.
Right. And I think that's probably really the biggest concept, like you said, if you try, if you put in the work to do it.
Yep.
And I mean, with this technology that we have out these days, like it is like it's ridiculous.
It's
Like you can
crazy what
literally,
these things can do, man.
yeah,
It's
like
crazy.
you could literally, if you wanted to, like literally go out and start a whole business within like 48 to 72 hours
Yep.
utilizing these tools if, as you said earlier, you know, one, what you're looking for, and two, you're giving it the right prompts. And I think that's one of the misconceptions that people have is they automatically think, well, AI is just like Google. It's like, no, if you really want to know how to utilize AI, the best thing that you can do is go to AI and say, hey, look, I'm 30 years old. I'm not very tech savvy, and I want you to act as a AI instructor, and I want you to help me understand how to utilize this platform better. If it's ChatGPT, put in ChatGPT. If it's Perplexity or Claude, then you want to put whatever that name is in there, and then as it starts going through, like you said, now you need to just start taking a deep dive, and the biggest thing is putting in the reps. Like this is not
Yep.
something, as we stated before, like that you're going to be learning overnight. Like you might learn at night, but it's not going to
Yeah.
be overnight.
Right. Exactly.
It might be like a 14-year night, but it might not really take that long with AI. But if you start to focus on a specific concept or a specific idea, then you're going
Hmm.
to be able to start having some type of success with it. Well, I'm happy that you started this to be able to help people because there's a lot of people that are really out here searching because I feel like there's like an awakening happening, and I
Hmm.
and I believe that the awakening is happening because there are more millennials, there are more Gen Zs, and there are even some Gen Ys that they ended up, or is it Gen Y or Gen X? Whatever the generation is after the baby boomers. I believe that some of them are starting to realize that they are in an era that is not set based on the goals or the ideas that they had.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is, say for instance, many people were talking about 401ks, or let's say for instance, baby boomers. Baby boomers, they was like, hey, we got this pension for you. Okay, they work as a pension. They were like, hey, if you go to school, then you don't got to work in the factories no more. We'll make you a manager. So all the
Hmm.
baby boomers start telling their kids, hey, go to college because if you go to college, then you can become a manager. You don't have to work in the factories.
Yep.
Okay, cool. A lot of the generation after that, they ended up going to college. They start investing in 401ks and stuff. The pensions went away. Once they started doing the 401ks, now they're starting to see like, man, my money's in the market. I've been saving this money for the past 20, 30 years. And all it takes is for a 20% market drop, and that's half of my retirement gone. So
Hmm.
now they're looking for different ways to be able to earn extra income, but also just have a better quality of life, especially when it comes to retirement.
Yeah,
So,
and just to touch on that quality of life point, it's like when you think about, after the baby boomers and, during that time period, technology was still advancing back then. And technology is continuing to advance in front of our eyes at the fastest rate in history. And if you go back and study history, you'll see that each time a technological advancement happens, there's a shift in wealth. There's a shift in, who is making money, who's not making money, and who's still at the bottom. And you continuously see the people who aren't investing, who aren't putting their money, who aren't letting their money make more money for them, are the ones that are getting left behind. And it doesn't matter how much money you make every year. If you're not investing it, the dollar value goes down every single year. Can we agree on that?
yep, yeah, I agree with you on that.
Exactly. So if the value of the dollar is going down every year, but the value of assets is going up every year, you can see the divergence of why it's so important to put your money into the market. And
Exactly.
one thing, a conversation that I actually had with my dad a couple of weeks ago when I was back home for Christmas was, he said, I told him, I said, the market has went up for the last 150 years. It hasn't failed completely ever. And he was like, "How do you know that's not gonna happen tomorrow?" And I was like, "I don't know that it's not gonna happen tomorrow, but 150 years tells me that it went last year. It's probably not gonna be this year, and it probably ain't gonna be the next year. So I'm
Right,
not gonna be the one who try to call the top. I'm not gonna be the one
right.
trying to call the top. I just want to call them 20, 30% decline so I can get in for a better investment, get the investment for cheaper.
Exactly.
And because in my head, up and to the right, up and to the right.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
so that's exactly what I'm gonna keep doing.
Yep. And I think that's one of the biggest things too that many people talk about, and especially for those that are maybe in their 50s and late 40s and they're looking to retire in the next 10 to 15 years. They really have to start thinking about these things because, as you stated, and that was one of the things that um, why I started to really even get into this space of wealth creation is because of the fact that many people are not educated and they think that if they work harder, that they're going to make more money. But what really ends up happening is they just end up more tired. They end up more frustrated. Like,
And they end up spending more money than they
yeah,
need.
and they end up spending more money because even if you think about it, I had did some research and I was like, what was the value of the dollar in 2000? And I was actually having a conversation with chat. I'm like, what is actually the depreciation of the dollar? Because in 2000, I remember I used to get $10 or $20 and I can go buy like 20 or 30 things. Of course, as a kid, you probably buying sodas and chips and all that other
Right.
stuff, but you can go buy a lot of groceries. But now, $20, bro, you might have two things in your cart that's two.
Maybe. Maybe. Depending on what you got.
Depending on what you buying, you might go buy some water, some toilet paper. You might be looking at like $18.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you're not even buying a big pack no more. You
Yep.
buying like a 6 pack or something.
It's
So I'm
like
sitting
that.
there like, what is going on? And it's literally exactly what you said. Each and every year, and many people don't do the research and they don't look at history because history gives you, it doesn't tell you exactly what's going to happen in the future, but it gives you an idea so that when you see these same type of things, now you know, okay, maybe I need to start moving or shifting different.
Mhm.
But the value of the dollar is going down.
Yep.
Not only is the value of the dollar going down, inflation, I think for most of last year, inflation was at like 7% for at least 3 quarters out of the year.
Man.
And then with the dollar going down, then you got inflation going up, and those are inverse. But like you said, the market also goes up over a long period of time. And I think that's what a lot of people don't think about. They're like, well, the market goes down, and what if I lose all my money? What if this? What is that? Well, if you're around my age, if you're around Kenny's age, now is really the time where you need to start trying to work as much as you can to put money into the market. Why?
Yep.
Because
Money market.
we can afford for a market crash to happen.
Yep.
Because like they say, buy the dip, you buy the dip.
Yep.
And you may not be able to call a market top or market bottom, whatever it is, but you can have an idea, okay, I'm gonna put a little money over here, I'm gonna put a little money over there. And
Yep.
really one of the things that helped me think more about investing is I started reading the Bible a little bit more and I got into Proverbs and it said wealth is gained little by little.
Yep. Yep. And to go off of what you were saying about like getting in when buying the dip, getting in and knowing when it's a good time to buy. That's exactly what Tickers does, man. That's exactly what Tickers does. I'm gonna give you a quick example. So like this
Okay.
is a quick company right here. What's this? COP.
Okay.
COP is showing a 77 bargain score right now, meaning after all the algorithm goes through, it's telling you that this particular company is at a potential buying opportunity right now based on its fundamentals, and it's based on fundamentals. It's
Okay.
not no hype. It's not no speculative opinion. It's based on fundamentals, and
Okay.
so when you get into that 77, 80 bargain score range, it's like okay, this might be a good time to buy. It's not gonna let you get in at the top if you running with the hype. So when Palantir was pushing, it was at all time highs.
Yeah.
Everybody was trying to get in. Everybody was trying to
Get in, that thing coming down.
get exactly. As soon as you get in, it started coming down on the bargain score. The bargain score when it was at an all time high,
When?
zero. The bargain score was at a zero at an all time high. We don't get in at all time highs. There's no point in getting in at all time highs
Right.
because, like Warren Buffett said, be patient. It's gonna come back. And what did Palantir do? Gave you 15, 20, 30% pullback.
Yep.
And that's when the bargain score was telling you 80, get in. And what happened after that? It went up again. So it's like
Exactly.
you start to realize those ebbs and flows. Everybody's scared when it's starting to drop. It's hard to it's scary to catch a falling knife if you think the falling knife is sharp. But if you realize with fundamentals, stability, if the knife is falling and it's dull and it ain't gonna cut you, you might as well go ahead and put your hand out. You
Right.
catch it, keep going.
Right. Exactly. And that's a really great point. Because I know most of the things that I mainly look at, I do look at some fundamentals when it comes to like long term, more
Mhm,
so investing. But like as far as short term, most of the time I'm looking at technicals.
mhm.
So when you say the barter score has the fundamentals, for somebody that's new, what are some good basic fundamentals that people should know about?
So when you're looking at a stock, the fundamental, the number one thing you need to ask yourself first and go and investigate is this company even profitable? If they're not profitable, that's the red flag number one. Now, that don't mean that they're not a good company to invest in. That just means that's the first red flag of I'm not going to invest into this because it's not a profitable company. The whole reason that the stock market goes up is because people are investors and professionals are counting on a particular stock or industry to grow over time. So that's
Okay.
exactly how they figure out how much a stock is worth. Now, the market has a big influence on that. Sentiment has a big influence on that. But long term, cash flow is king.
Okay.
Cash flow is king. You got to know cash flow. If you don't know the cash flow, if that company is not giving free cash flow, if they're not returning money to their shareholders, if their return on invested capital, meaning the money that they're investing into the company to grow, is less than their weighted average cost of capital, which is the cost of capital that investors demand, then they're destroying value. If they're destroying value, you need to go ahead and look at the other direction. And
Okay.
so, another big fundamental thing that I've learned in my research is with ROIC, return on invested capital.
Okay.
The company is consistently proving that they've got good return on invested capital, then they are more likely to succeed than a company that is not. Way more likely to succeed. And that's actually the gold standard for measuring whether a company will succeed in the future is ROIC. So that's one of the main things I look at when I'm looking at a stock.
Okay. Okay. And for those that are very new when it comes to investing, what exactly is sentiment?
So sentiment is what the market thinks. What's the world around you think about this stock? That's gonna
Okay.
have a huge influence on what the stock price is doing. Because even if, let's say, the professionals run stuff called like a DCF, which is a discounted cash flow, to come up with the intrinsic value of a stock. Now,
Okay.
let's say the intrinsic value was $100 for a stock, but the stock is trading at $200, and it's all over the news that this stock is just 100% return. That's why the stock is way above that intrinsic value because the
Mm,
hype is pushing it up.
okay.
Everybody wants to buy it. If everybody want to buy something and the demand for selling it ain't there, it's going to continue to go up. And then when they realize that this stock is not worth as much as, everybody's hyping it up to be, it falls down to the middle of earth, just like Peloton did in 2021. And it's
Yeah.
like, you got to start, when you start thinking about those things, it's like, okay, am I following the hype or am I following my gut and my investing in my research for a company? And that's the big thing to always pay attention to.
Okay. So that kind of seems like when they had that big thing going on with GameStop,
Yep.
everybody was pushing that hype up, but then they
Everybody
realized
pushing
that it
the
really
hype up.
wasn't that valuable
Yep. And where isn't the GameStop at today?
back
I don't
down.
know. I haven't looked at it. I haven't
I'm
looked at
pretty,
it.
yeah,
But
I haven't looked at it in a while, but I'm pretty sure it's back down. It's like
exactly.
because I had watched a movie. I forgot what the name of the movie is about the guy that basically made like millions of dollars, like 12 something million or whatever
Mm.
off of that, and I think it had ended up getting up to like 150 or $170. And I think the when I looked at it, it was like years ago that I looked at GameStop. I think it ended up going back down to
Mhm.
maybe like $50 or $40 or something like that.
Because all the smart money is selling all their shares to you. They letting y'all bring this hype up so they can bring their shares up so they can sell all of them to you when it's time to sell. And they got more shares than you do. They got more leverage than all of us do. And
Yep.
so when they sell, the market gonna
The
drop
market
with
gonna draw exactly.
it.
Exactly.
Because you just flooded the market with supply. If you just flooded the market with supply, what's gonna happen? That even though their demand is still there, the supply has now risen to the demand, so the price is no longer. You don't have pricing power no more.
Right.
Pricing power goes away. So yeah,
Yeah, that's true, man. All right. So for those out there that are looking to get started and you want to look at what is it that you should be focused on? For one, you could do this the hard way. I mean, you can, and that's really where a lot of people they get discouraged and they say, "Oh, this is a bunch of fluff, and I don't understand this, and I don't want to do that." Or you can take some advice from a couple of young guys that's out here hustling and grinding, and go out there and start utilizing AI. And specifically, if you're looking to get started with investing in the stock market, make sure you go check out the Tikkerz app that Kenny has officially launched
yep.
on what was it, December 30th?
December 28th is when
Oh,
I officially
28?
launched
Okay,
it. I
okay.
started marketing it December 30th, but I got one more quick plug-in, one more quick
Okay,
plug-in.
okay, okay, go ahead.
For all of the people who, you know, you wanna see where your stocks are right now, if you have a portfolio already, you can connect your broker and it'll give you a ticker scorecard. It's gonna tell you what the bargain score is for each one of your stocks in your portfolio. It's gonna tell you what the star rating is, and it's gonna give you an AI breakdown of all of your stocks and you know what those investments are from a quality standpoint.
Okay. That's what's up because even like I know I have a Charles Schwab
Mhm.
and like they have reports and stuff too, but man, it's like first you got to do so much research. You got to first go see what does like say for instance they have a grade score, so it's like A,
Mhm.
B, C, D, whatever. So then you have to go and see what those grade scores are. Then you have to
Yep.
go and go to the specific stock. Then you got to open up the white paper. Then you got to look at all the research. You got to look at all this stuff, and it's like man, like I wish this was a lot simpler, but thanks to you being innovative, now you got the Tikkerz app. So I know I've used it and it's a great app, especially for people that are getting started. And one of the biggest things that I always tell people, and I know Kenny is also with this, I personally don't bring anything, and my goal is to not ever bring anything to this community or to this channel that I'm not personally using, and only bring on credible people. Because I know I've dealt with it in the past, Kenny. I'm not sure if you've dealt with it in the past, but there are a lot of people out here that are selling dreams that they cannot back up. They're selling promises that are not very realistic. And it's not to say that you can't dream big, and it's not to say that you gotta, just believe, but you also have to put that work in. And you got to make sure that you are doing your own due diligence, whether it's with investing or whether it's with, your relationships or with your health. You got to make sure you go and do your own due diligence.
Yep, exactly, and I agree 100% with that. You know, of course, you know, follow your influencers and you know see what they got going on, but always trust your gut. Don't just blindly follow into anything that people are saying just because they're making a lot of money. Because one of the reasons that they're probably making a lot of money is because you're buying their course, and you want to make sure that they actually have the skills to back up without everything that they're saying. So that's the only plug I got for that. You know, I went through a lot of going through a lot of courses, and you know following the flash, the cards, the bling, and you know, I quickly figured out that these people don't know no more than I do. And you know, only way I'm gonna get to the top is by you know researching, putting in the work, and continuing to execute. And that's the biggest one. Always execute.
Yeah, most definitely. And I agree with you on that too. I spend a lot of money on courses that people didn't have. All they did was they went and got what do they call it, a PLR, and they went and read it, and then they was regurgitating or repurposing the information, and
Yep.
they hadn't even used it. And I'm not saying that you can't utilize some of that stuff, but the biggest thing that you can have, the biggest credibility that you can have is just by doing it yourself and just make it work for you.
Yep.
So
There's
yeah,
so many
man.
tools out there now that help you do it too. So
Yep, that is true. That is true. Well, man, I'm not gonna take up too much more of your time. I want to definitely thank you for taking time out of your day, and thank you for being the first guest on the Wealth
sir.
Creation channel. And for those that are looking for more information about the Tikkerz app, I'm going to put a link in the description down below where you can go and you can download that app and just be able to get started with investing. Make sure that you are not using this as an excuse to not go out there and do research, but use it as a tool to help enhance your research and
Yep.
be able to do it a lot faster. And remember that if you are currently investing, Kenny did mention that you can connect your current broker that you have, whatever platform that you are using. Is it limited to a certain platform?
There's about 30 platforms on there. So you got
Okay.
your big ones like Robinhood, Schwab, Vanguard, all of those. That you'll Fidelity, you'll be able to connect to all of those brokers. And one important plug that I want to make sure that people understand is the security aspect of it. Tickers cannot see your information. We can't see any of your information. It's done through a third party called SnapTrade, which is a secure connection that all of the brokers trusted enough to let them allow connections to happen on their platform. And so, like I said, Tickers doesn't do can't read any of your information. It just shows you the information that the broker is willing to give Snaptrade, and Snaptrade gives that information to us so we can display it in the UI for the users to see.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's very important too. So, make sure that you guys go and you check it out. Make sure you go create an account. I believe right now it is free, but I don't know how long that's going to be like that. So make sure you go ahead and take advantage of it now. And remember that y'all heard it first from the Wealth Creation channel about the Tikkerz app. I believe that honestly, it's going to be one of the next biggest things. I really like um, the format of it. To me personally, it kind of is very captivating because it looks like a game. I mean,
Yeah,
it just looks
yeah,
like you're playing a game. And
yeah.
I know many people, they start thinking that everything got to be a chalk and a whiteboard and or a
Mhm.
blackboard and all that other stuff, but it's very user friendly. And yeah, that's I ain't gonna put too much else into it. Just go check it out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I hope y'all go check it out. It's a fun tool that I use every day, and I hope that everybody finds the same value in it that I did.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for having me on the first podcast, man. Matt, I appreciate it. You drop gems every time we talk, man, and I appreciate you always being able to lay some knowledge on me, man.
Oh, yes, sir. I appreciate it too. And honestly, likewise, man, you give me some things to definitely think about. So it's always not just a give, or just a take, but it's always reciprocated, giving and taking. You spread knowledge to me, and I thank you for the compliment of also passing knowledge on to you. My thing is, which is also one of the biggest things for the channel that I want to share, is that if I know it, you know it.
Yep,
So many people try to hold information. They try to get you to pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, I mean, there will be a time where maybe thousands of dollars might, it might cost something or whatever. But for the most part, this is a place where people can come and get free quality information. And I just want to make sure that I'm just helping people and leaving my mark on the world. So I definitely
yes,
appreciate
sir.
it, man.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Well, that is it, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure that if you are not subscribed to the channel, you go ahead and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out for now.